ideas, but first, let's get a little practice. In your sketchbook, you have 3 minutes up at the top to create some intuitive art, meaning you're going to link your thoughts and your feelings with just spontaneous, quick without really thinking about it, mark making. So just slowly and steadily, just move your pencil in ways that bring you joy. You don't have to think about what you want to make, just make marks. Just make marks. You can see from my do now, just moved my pencil around ways that made me happy.
Keep going.
As you're working spontaneously, that means you're not really thinking too much about it. You're just moving that pencil around and see what happens. Think one. Now, if you haven't answered part B yet, notice that the thinking hat, just a red thinking hat. That means I want you to think about your feelings here. Not for a fact about what you made, not a bunch of lines, but think of the vibe, the mood, the feeling. How'd you feel when you were making this work of art? Try it, Dave. How did you feel? Right, if you get done with part B and you want to go back up to part A, I think I will. Just make some more spontaneous marks. Something that I like to do.
Well, I like to just kind of bend and wave. That brings me joy. Every once in a while, maybe put some little droopy little zigzags in there. That's kind of fun too. There's no right way to make marks with this. There's no wrong way to make marks either. We're just going with the flow, making marks. Let's take 11 more seconds. I'm gonna put my pencil back up on the tray. All right. Okay, you should have your pencils back up on the tray and you're listening to this video here. Hey y'all. I gotta tell you, for me, doodling without thinking too much felt really relaxing. Sometimes when I have an idea in mind, I can get a little stressed out if it's just not happening. I get a little unbalanced, right? So the idea of just making marks for the sake of making marks, just for the fun of it, it felt really relaxing. How did it feel for you? Did it feel relaxing? Was it soothing, kind of like a true north breath? Or were you a little bit more anxious because you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what to do. I want to make a plan. I actually want to draw something realistic. I can understand how that can be a challenge too, to kind of like let go of control. And that's exactly what we're doing today. You don't need to write anything down for this. Just make sure you're listening along to my voice. Let me move my face out of the way. Cool. All right, guys. So today you're going to be able to explore intuitive painting. I'm going to say that again, intuitive painting, our intuition, the red thinking hat, the feeling hat. Why are we doing this? Because I want you to be able to experiment with just mixing colors with our tempera paint sticks. They're called quick sticks. Because not only is this fun, but it's just really good practice to explore. And that's what you're going to do today in your sketchbook. So today's grade, you already earned it. That was your entrance ticket, calling it our exit ticket. I hope you used your notes for it, so that way you aced it. That's your grade today. The rest is up for you to be successful. This is an asynchronous lesson, meaning you're just going to be doing this on your own. If the teacher has you turn and talk every once in a while, that's totally cool, but really this is an independent practice and study. All right, so please, please, please always work the compass. Bring your best self in our studio with integrity. The expectation is that you're working along with this video silently and independently. You're being a kind shoulder partner, putting things back at any time when you're done with something on the box or in the tray. So just bring your best self, okay? Take this time for yourself. We will do a quick little elements of art fluency check to make sure you can walk your talk with color and all of our other elements that we use in our artwork. Also, you'll learn a little bit more about intuitive painting, what it looks like, and how our paint sticks work, in case you haven't used them before. Also, the big thing today is you're just going to have fun intuitively painting and recording any color results in your sketchbook. So over here is an example of an intuitive painting. You can see it looks really beautiful. Looks like maybe there was a plan in the end, but lots of just spontaneous, quick little mark making. Okay, so get your sketchbooks. I'm going to give you 1 minute at a zone 0 before we create intuitively. We're going to do a little review, aka a fluency check. So let's review the ingredients that we use. Take that 1 minute at a zone 0 to fill in the blanks on your sketchbook. So we're down in our visual journaling. All right, 1 minute, go. I'll read it aloud. A line is defined as a blank made by a moving point. A blank is defined as an enclosed area. So number 2 is the area. Number 1 is the moving point. Number 3, blank is defined as how something feels or looks like it feels. Think about our shoe drawings, right? All right, number 4, can't see it. Number 4, red, yellow, and blue are blank colors. Superman or Superwoman, Superperson. Number 5, orange, green, and violet are blank colors. What do we call them? Check back in your notes if you need them. About 14 seconds. And then number 6, colors made by mixing a primary and the adjacent secondary color, that's the one that's beside it, is called a blank color. It's that in-between color. All right, let's double check. Number 1, a line is defined as a path. It's a path made by a moving point, right? You're going to be working with lots of lines today. A shape is an enclosed up area. Shape is area. And then number 3, texture is defined how something feels or it looks like it feels. You may want to work with a lot of texture today because that just makes you happy. Cool. All right, let's talk color. Number 4, red, yellow, and blue are primary colors. They're the first colors that make all the rest of the colors. When you mix 2 primaries together, you get number 5, orange, green, and violet. 1 plus 1 is 2 secondary colors. Colors made by mixing a primary and secondary color, a 1 plus 2 is 3. Tertiary, T-E-R, that little root word, tertiary colors. So that's your yellow, orange, mustardy color. That's your blue, green, turquoise color. That's your blue, violet, indigo color. And we've got all of those tertiary colors in here. Cool. All right, so we're going to use lines, shapes, textures, colors to have fun and create freely today. Free of expectation, free of judgment. This may look beautiful to us, it may not. You know, this is all about experimentation. So this is called intuitive painting. Go ahead, draw a line in your sketchbook from your fluency check, and let's write down. And I even drew a heart. I drew a heart to represent intuitive painting. Because why? Intuitive painting is a way to explore your joy through creating. The main reason why I'm an artist, an art teacher, is because creating just fills my heart with joy. It really does. It makes me so happy to get into that, I like to call flow state, where you don't really have to think about anything. You're just creating. To me, It's like meditation. It's like our true north breathing. So today, we're not just going to be sitting and breathing, right? We are going to focus our attention in making marks. And we don't need to worry. Just move your paint stick in a way that makes you happy. Of course, show integrity, take care of your materials. Don't break all the paint sticks. Y'all, these are expensive, so take care of them. But you're going to create in ways that make you happy. No goal, no rubric, just create freely. With this exploration, you really get to explore firsthand how pigments mix and interact with one another as you overlap your lines or the shapes or the textures. Some of these paint sticks mix better than others. You'll have to experiment and find out. So the big goal today is, yes, we're going to experiment and play with color and see what happens, because we're going to learn through exploration. But most importantly, I want you to have a different way of creating. You don't always have to have a plan in mind. You can just wake up the joy within. So you drew a little heart. Okay, let's find out a little bit more from an intuitive painter. If you want to jot down notes, you definitely can. What is intuitive art?
Intuitive art has to do with where your intention comes from in your art making. So for example, if you have a reference and you're going to try to paint or draw something to make it look like that, that's not intuitive art, but that's a really common way of making art that we're familiar with. So if that type of art making is, I want to make it look like which is goal-oriented. So when a lot of people make art, they think, oh, the goal is to make something pretty. But that's not true with intuitive art. The goal with intuitive art is to make something that resonates with how you feel in this moment. And I know that seems crazy because, like, why would you make art that's not beautiful? Well, the answer is you make art that is beautiful to you in this moment, or it's beautiful to have something resonate with you. If you are grieving, or if you are in a really stuck and lost place and you intuitively express how that feels, it might look ugly on the canvas, but it's going to feel really good to you to see it and go, yes, that is how I feel. And not only has your feeling been put there, you have moved the energy out of you. That's part of the transformation that happens. So intuitive art, in my opinion, is a mindfulness, meditative practice of taking what's inside of you and putting it out onto a canvas, onto a piece of paper, in a way that you are unattached to the result that's going to come through. And yes, the rewards are many when you make art in this way.
So something that really resonated with me was talking about like detaching yourself from the outcome. It's not about what it looks like. So let that go, detach yourself, let it go, let go of all those expectations and judgments of this has to be perfect, and just create in a way that feels really like satisfying to you. Hope you could hear that okay. All right, kiddos, so let's stamp this before you get started. Intuitive painting, it's an invitation, it's an invite to be non-judgmental, no hate, no shade, and just be present with yourself, right? You don't have to worry about the future or worry about the past because these paint sticks dry really quick. You can layer on top of them. Just be with yourself and your mark making. Relax. Take a deep breath. And just move your paint sticks in ways that bring you joy. Maybe you enjoy more of like a fluid type of feeling. Maybe you like things that are a little bit more sketchy. Move in a way that makes you happy. Choose colors that speak to you. When I'm painting intuitively, I don't think too much about colors. I just look at my palette and I'm like, what feels good? Boom, I'll grab it. Go for it. Trust your imagination. Just trust yourself to make marks. You can do that. If you can write your name, you can make marks, y'all. And most importantly, turn your work around, like create different angles. So sometimes I'll paint like with my sketchbook facing this way, sometimes I'll do it this way. The most important part though is of course that you have fun, but you also stay balanced. This doesn't mean go like this and wear the paint down to the very nub. No, don't be wasteful, right? Stay balanced, stay chill, okay? So it's gonna look something like this. Here's a little intuitive painting background that I did, check it. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just making marks. I'm using a lot, ooh, there goes my color. I'm using a lot of different colors, and you can see that I'm working pretty quick, even though this video is sped up a little bit. These paints, they dry so quick, and you can see I'm keeping on layering, so that way you don't have to have any judgment. Sometimes I'll take my finger and I'll do a little smudge. This paint isn't like super great for smudging, but if you want to try it because it feels good, like go for it. You've got some hand wipes there to clean it up. Okay, sweet. Here's what I'm gonna have you do, my friends. Before I start the timer where you are exploring intuitive painting, so we can play around with mixing tempera paints, let's kind of bulk up our sketchbook paper a little bit. So you have a glue stick, and you should have some, let me grab some painting paper. I'm afraid our sketchbook paper is just a little bit too thin. So grab one of these extra papers. It's gonna just muscle up and beef up your sketchbook a little bit. So go ahead, and this is actually good practice in using the painting sticks, because the painting sticks look like a big old glue stick. Twist it just a little bit, not a lot. I know you middle school kids think you need a lot. No, just a little bit. And then a little bit of glue on the back. Put this in your next page in the sketchbook. So that way you can paint an intuitive painting on top of that paper, just like I did here. You can go all the way to the edge. But because our paper's thicker, you can also do it on the back. Okay, sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and start the timer. We even got some good music. Let me turn this down for a second. All right, kiddos, so at a zone 0, you can move along with the music if you wish. You're just gonna intuitively paint with any of the colors from your quick stick palette. No plan, no goal. Just have fun seeing how the colors play together. Layer, layer, layer. Have fun. Turn that down for a second. By the way, with the quick sticks, if you want to make like bold marks, kind of like if you had a bold marker, just use the flat part of the quick stick. But if you want the line to be a little finer, instead of making marks flat like this, put it up at an angle And you can just make a mark with that little edge. That way you can get some variety of thicker lines and thinner lines. Keep creating. I so wish I could be there and see you guys creating. I love intuitive painting. But as you can see here, I'm just making tons of marks, tons of lines, some little shapes, things like that, but just making lines. To me, little straight lines feel very calm and relaxing, but maybe you want them to be have a little bit more movement. Maybe they bend and wave or they're jagged. You do you. Keep creating. I don't know if you saw my face, but this is how I work. I get really close to see all the little lines. And if you notice, I always kind of like lean back a little bit. That way I can take in all the things that I've done. Try it out. So you may be working really closely, but every once in a while, lean back. Take a look at your art from a distance. Also, one layer, not enough, my friends. Painting, especially with tempera paint or acrylic paint, is all about layering. So keep on creating. I'm working on about the third layer right now. Just know I'm trying to stay away from using black right now. It's just such a strong, heavy pigment. It's really hard to layer over top of black. So I'm kind of staying away from black for right now, but we can always bring it in later. Let's keep on layering. Let's keep on making marks. remember, not all lines have to be long. Sometimes I think it feels kind of nice to do these like little these little dashed lines. Just kind of creates a cool texture. Keep going. Dash it up. We have about 3 minutes left in this loop. Just be mindful. Maybe keep an eye on the clock. If you're noticing that you have a lot of layers built up and you haven't let them dry, just kind of sit back and chill for 30 seconds. These quick sticks, they dry pretty quick, almost within like 60 seconds. So that's another reason why I love them. Less mess, less cleanup. If you kept using the same colors, I really want to implore you to try something different. Maybe try a different type of paint, like a different type of yellow. See which one is more translucent, like you can see through it, which one's more opaque. Experiment. We have about 2 minutes and 36 seconds left. like that timer. I think we should bust that out for future studio time. I'm here for it. All right. Take a minute, take a breather. Hold your artwork kind of out in front of you a little bit, kind of like this. Just look at those beautiful marks. Remember when you had a plain piece of paper and like that was it? And look what you've created. It was fun. So I want you to think, maybe even note down, what were some color mixing findings? So for instance, I noticed like some of like the orange was really translucent. You could kind of see colors code through it, but any color that looked lighter, like a pastel version, was a little bit more opaque, meaning we couldn't see that. If you notice the same thing, let me tell you why. Because colors that are lighter, or tints of colors, T-I-N-T-S, that's when you add white to a color, and white is a very, very, like black, a very strong pigment. So you can cover a lot with white, you can cover a lot with black when it comes to acrylic paint or tempera paint. Cool. Well, if you have been pacing yourself, you should have maybe another 10, 15 minutes tops of creating. So I'm going to give you some options for the remainder of this time. You can go back to your original intuitive painting and like just start using your imagination again. Start seeing what kind of images or things or even shapes do you want to start kind of painting out and being brought out a little bit. So you can paint around that image if you see shapes and lines. So think back to when we did our tessellations. Remember when we had that very organic, curvy area, that organic shape, and we had to create something with it? You know, like turned into a frog or a llama or a stingray. That's what you can do now, if you choose. That's option one. I just think it looks kind of cool. If you look at this example right here, we kind of have these like butterfly wings that they brought out with painting white and black. Oh yeah, we're gonna get the white and black paint out. Or if you're like, that felt really good to just intuitive paint with color, you've bulked up your paper now, you can flip to the next page where it is empty, and you can paint right on this sketch paper. Because it already has this very strong backing, it's not going to rip. So you don't need to glue on a new sheet. So what I'm going to do is set the timer again so we can listen to some music. And I'm gonna choose loop number 2. I'm gonna choose loop number 2. I'm just gonna start looking and seeing like what kind of shapes or maybe even images, things from real life, can I start bringing out with white and black paint, maybe just by tracing it out or painting some areas in around it. Let's do it. I'm going to set the timer for about 10 minutes, and that should give you enough time to paint a little bit more and then have enough time to clean up before last 3. So you're either repeating loop number 1 or trying out loop number 2. I'm gonna try out loop number 2. If you don't know what that is, look on the screen, read it, follow it. Sorry to bust up your flow, but I started moving my picture and I started seeing this circle that I created that reminded me of an iris of an eye. So I'm gonna like play around with that and see if I can turn this into like some sort of face. What are you gonna do? Can't wait to see it. If you haven't tried using the white or black paint yet to bring out some highlights or some shadows, so satisfying. Give it a go. Now I'm doing loop number 2 where I'm just using the creative part of imagination to not paint so intuitively now. It's more of like transforming my work into this plan, this eye. And this is where some of your color mixing knowledge can come into play. If you're like, oh, I want to make a tertiary blue-violet. Mix some blue and some violet together. Go for it. We've been creating now for like 40 minutes. You're probably getting to the time where it's about last 3. So friendly reminder for cleanup. These dry out, they're paint, they're a wet medium. So make sure that they're not twisted up like this. No, take care of our materials. Show integrity, do the right thing. Twist it down, just so you don't see it popping up. Make sure you click, click, click. You should hear a little click. So for cleanup, just make sure that all the paint is back in the box. On your tray, you have your 2 pencils, you have your 2 erasers. You may have some paint on your hands or your table. You can use these little alcohol wipes. That works just fine. Please remember, guys, leave this place cleaner than you found it. You know how I expect you to keep a clean and tidy studio. Do the same thing with our substitute guest educator. Let's check it out. That's what I've created. I love making eyes. And guess what? That's what we're doing for our next project. All about color. I'm really happy with it. And as I've said before, an artist is never done. The cool thing about tempera paint or acrylic paint is it's thicker, so you could keep layering it up. Just wanted to show you guys before I go another intuitive painting that I made when I was feeling some kind of heavy emotions. It's intuitive-esque. I worked very spontaneous and very freely, but I knew I wanted to do a self-portrait, which you can see expressing some sad big emotions there. So hopefully you like this style of intuitive painting and you want to try it at home. And you can do it with literally any medium. It doesn't have to be paint. Paint, you have a little bit more freedom of movement, but you could just like intuitively draw. That means like making marks with your pen or your pencil. Trying to show you one of my intuitive drawings. Oh. So that's an example of an intuitive drawing with pen and ink. The big takeaway from intuitive mark making is it's the true north of creating. It's a way to be present in the moment, because you have to be present when you're making something, because you're actively doing something, right? So it brings you to the present moment, it gets you to a place where you don't have to worry about the end result. We don't have to worry about craftsmanship concerns or anything like that, because this is free painting, it's free creating. And when we have a lot of that freedom, a lot of times joy comes with it. Maybe some other emotions popped up and cropped up for you during this time, and it's a great way to kind of get those emotions out, but also creating something. Other intuitive mark making, kind of meditative drawing techniques. If you've ever heard of Zentangles, try YouTubing that. Zentangles are just line and line patterns that you can intuitively create. You don't have to think too much about it. And again, it's a way to get into that flow state. That flow state where that right side of your brain, this guy, completely takes over. Left side doesn't have to worry about words or numbers or processing or anything like that. You just let that creative side play. And that's what our big takeaway is today, is that art can be play. I want you to remember that and think, how can I even bring play into my next project? All right, my friends, hope you had fun. Make sure that you clean up, leave this place even cleaner than you found it, and I will see you all next time. Leave the studio like this, please. Thanks, y'all.